Welcome to the Exes and Babies podcast, covering the good, bad, and the ugly of co-parenting. I'm your host, Sydney Swanigan, aka the Co-Parent Whisperer. Let's get into it. Paige, thank you so much for being here. I saw you on TikTok and your content and just fell in love with how you think about co-parenting. And I think it's so important for my audience to see other folks who just get the importance of a blended family, if possible, for folks, right? And so I would love for you to just share an introduction, tell us a little bit about yourself so we can get into it.
Yeah, so my name is Paige, and I'm mostly known for my work in like personal development and behavior and energetic profiling, which is like a whole thing. People are like, "What's energetic profiling?" Like,
What is energetic profiling?
well, that would be like a whole show, but
Okay.
essentially you have like behavior profiling where like I'm looking at you, I'm listening to you, I'm hearing your words, I'm hearing the words underneath your words, I'm seeing what I'm picking up all kinds of different things based on my senses. But I also have like astrology and human design and destiny matrix that gives me such a like more in-depth layer of like karma and your actual energetics and like what is actually going back and forth that we can't see, smell, taste, or perceive in that way. And so being able to really help people develop in that way. So worked with a lot of like high profile, high net worth people in coaching. But I also had like I have an education company, so you can learn all of that on your own, and a media company. So I'm always just sharing that information and my insights. And yeah, I started that when I hadn't had Ford yet. So I got married and started my business when I was like 26 or 27. And I'm 38 now. I'm still going. We're 12 years in. I've been a sole, I don't want to say the sole provider, obviously, because we're 50-50. But when my kids are with me, for the last 10 years, I have been completely able to support us and give us a great lifestyle. And so, yeah, that's a little bit about me.
That is so cool. And that resonates with me, what you said about when your kids are with you, you're able to give them, everything they need and lots of their
Yeah.
wants, because
Mhm.
that's something that people don't, that's not the trope we hear when you hear about like divorce and single mama, right? You're
There's
not
a lot
single
of
right now,
struggle.
but like,
Yeah, there's a lot of struggle implied. I actually did a TikTok about that like did pretty well about how, I really did try to surround myself with people who were not struggling
right.
in single motherhood because the narrative the reigning narrative is it's hard. And it is.
Yes,
Like
absolutely.
it is
No doubt.
hard, but it doesn't have to be always a struggle and always hard. And actually I found it to be extremely joyful and preferred. Like when my husband came around, I was completely happy. I could have done that. I could have done it for the rest of my life by myself.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's talk about this. So when did you meet your husband, your now husband?
Oh, well, I was 18 and I had just moved out. I moved out before I even graduated high school. Like I was out.
Okay. You're like,
Like I
I'm
was
ready to
like,
be
get me out of
gone.
here. And so I moved and had to like drive back to my graduation. But I got my first job at a place called Roosters in Ohio. I'm not sure if you have them where you're at.
I was born in Dayton, Ohio,
Oh,
but
where
I'm in Seattle right now. Where are you?
love Dayton. We love Dayton.
Oh,
So I'm currently in like Delaware,
okay.
like area. But we met at Roosters in Columbus. I was a hostess and he was a line cook. And we were like best friends. He was older than me. So it stayed platonic because, and this is like speaks to his character. Now that we're married and we're obviously like it's a romantic relationship, he's like, we of course you were always attractive, and of course I always like loved you, but you were 18 and you had just gotten out of high school and I was 22 and I had been like drinking and partying and living on my own. And he's like, the power dynamic would have been completely unfair and really skewed. And
Right.
so we were best friends. We lived together, like brother sister, weirdly. And yeah,
Not
he
here to
would like come
judge.
home. He would come home to like my family things. Like he was close with my brother. And so
Right.
we lost connection around 23, 24. We both got into a lot of like substance abuse issues. So like
Got it.
I got into alcohol and he got into heroin
Mhm.
and struggled with that for a year, 2 years, and just lost connection.
Okay.
Um, and we reconnected last year.
Okay.
So after 17 years, we had a conversation after 17 years. He slid into my DMs with a memory.
Let's go. Take note,
It
people.
was like, but you have to think about how many years that memory has probably come up for him because he's at the same Facebook. I didn't realize he was single. He had been married because we had very parallel paths. Like
Okay.
I got married I got, I cleaned it up,
Hmm.
got my life together.
Good for
Um,
you.
and he got his life together. He got sober, like completely cold turkey, got married. And so we were like these parallel paths, even in our careers. It's really interesting. Um, so it's like of all the timing in the world. And so I messaged him back on the week of Christmas, so coming up literally a year. And yeah, but I was drunk on Andre.
Okay.
So like not even good champagne.
Oh, dang. I'm
Like
again here.
like I was turned by
Okay.
myself and just like I love you. You showed me what it was to be like really loved. Like he loved every aspect of me and it was so pure, and so we just decided to reconnect and that was it. I was pregnant by mid-January
Okay.
and we lost that we lost that pregnancy, but we were married in February and we got pregnant again. Uh
Wow.
not on purpose, in May.
Been there. That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And I love that your story is like, from my take anyways, like rooted in like authentic, like real life, like pain, and
Mhm.
some struggle, right?
A
And then also
lot.
like
Mhm.
loving each other through that. That's really
Mhm.
beautiful, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
How did you know like that he was the one, and how did you think about integrating him in your life? You already had your babies, right? And
Yeah.
so thinking about him as a stepfather, how did you navigate that?
Well, I mean, he couldn't be any cooler. I just thought about him as a person, and he would like no matter what, I would want him in my kid's life. So like it would be Uncle Donnie, or it would be, I once he was back, I was like, man, you were my favorite. And even when I was with my ex and my exes, and there's so the different it kind of plays into the difference between how I feel about him and how we connect, and then how I've always connected with other people. And with Donnie, it's like it's very pure and it's very steady and it's very all encompassing and it's very um I've never once thought and wondered like does he really love me? Like I've never felt any insecurity. He's always been very protective of me. It's always kind of he always says it's your world, I'm just living in it, and he means it. And like the other day he brought something to me and I was like thank you. He's like I love doing things for you. And but he always has been that way even when there wasn't like a romantic aspect of it.
Consistent.
um
Yeah.
and with everybody else there's been just like this up and down and passion and insecurity and a lot of triggering things happening in the power dynamic,
Yeah.
whereas with Donnie there is no power dynamic.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I knew. Like, I don't feel a lot of like emotion, like passion, just
Mm,
actually how I knew that like, oh, this is the person. I
right.
hope that makes sense. I think
No,
people
I know
think
what you
it's
mean.
bad, but it doesn't, it's not. I don't need the drama.
Right, right. Because yeah, where is that like intensity of those like past passions coming from? It's usually rooted in something that's not like super healthy. So I totally understand that. I think that's that growth part that like I'm sure like a couple years ago I wouldn't have understood that. I'm like, it's got to be dramatic. It's got to be. No, it really doesn't. It can feel safe and steady, and that is
Other parts of your
beautiful.
life, yeah, other parts of your life can be dramatic. Like I can have my fun with my business or like, my career. Like I'm in the arts, like acting and theater and all that stuff. It's like if I want some drama, I can just go create it. I don't need
Yes.
it. And within this dynamic, I realizing I really just needed like something steady and to be loved for all aspects of myself. And like I said, with him, I just never questioned
Mhm.
that. I never questioned that he loved me. I never questioned his loyalty. I never questioned anything. Like it's
Okay.
it's just easy.
Yes, yes, yes. I love that for you. And like, I hope that folks are taking note. I am too, because it is, as you're evolving as a person, as a woman in the space of like dating or what have you, it's so important to be open to new experiences and a new version of what we think love could look like or feel like, for sure.
Women always talk about how they want this particular type of treatment, or they want to have this type of relationship. And I always say, like, you couldn't handle it because it's boring in
Hmm.
the best way, and that like
Right.
you don't have to wake up on and wonder and worry and play games and things like that. Like you really just get whatever you want, and the person that's giving to you loves you and wants to give that to you. And like also, like I make a lot of the decisions. It's kind of like you said, always said, it's like it's your world, I'm just living in it. So you have to be very, I think you have to be very autonomous. You have to know who you are. You have to know what you want. You have to be able to make decisions to be able to be in a relationship like that.
Absolutely, absolutely, for sure. And I love what I took from one of your videos, which is that, you weren't necessarily like begging for a man or anything like that. You were so grounded in what you were doing. And like, can we talk about that phase of your life? Like
So
going from were you married to your children's
I
father?
was married to, yeah, his name's Todd. We were married, yeah, like 25 to, I was with him from like 25 until 31-ish.
Hmm.
And we met when I was, obviously my frontal lobe had just developed and I was deeply insecure, and we met each other at the right time. Meaning like I was ready to finally kind of settle down and stop partying and being that girl, and he was ready for a wife,
Hmm.
period, because he was like 33. So it was like it was more kind of like, oh hey hey, and then come together versus we're compatible, and you're good to me and I'm good to you and I respect you. None of that was really there.
Got
It
it.
ended up eventually like working out that we have a friendship and that we do respect and love, and there's a compatibility there in a different type of
Yeah.
like relationship container. Um so yeah, ultimately, what was the question? Sorry. The
Just like, transitioning from being married to
Oh,
being very comfortable in like singleness and being a mom.
so it was actually the singleness that was so confronting to me,
Mm.
because I realized how aggressively insecure I was
Okay.
and codependent and how male centered I was. And
Mm.
so that when people see my content, they're like, wow, you're so confident, you're so like autonomous and self-assured. That is because I wasn't. I was the inferior. It was really bad. And it was so brought to life through dating and how quickly I would get attached and how much their opinions of me dictated everything in my life.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't put certain content out because a man might see it, but maybe my audience needed it. I
Right.
wouldn't make a certain amount of money because a man might not want to be with a woman that makes a certain amount of money, because my experience with my ex-husband was not great when I started, making money on my like in my own way.
Right.
And so I realized it was dictating everything in my life. So I had to be very aggressive with my decentering of men. And it got to a point where, yeah, I didn't really see them bringing any value to my life whatsoever.
Hmm.
They were like taking it away. And so I wasn't looking for it at all. Like even with
Right.
that message to Donnie, it was just like a I love you like friend thing.
Hmm.
Like he had to basically, I don't want to say convince me, but like I was very clear. He wrote me like a paragraph after we hung out.
Hmm.
It was like something, I don't remember what it was, but I wrote back like two sentences, and it was like
Yeah.
a joke. And he was like, "Oh, she's really not interested, but I'm gonna continue to pursue this," and he did.
Wow.
But yeah, I think that ultimately, like, you have to look at why you're making the decisions you're making. Whose opinion do you care about more? Um,
Hmm.
trying to impress. Even hating men is centering them. So I really had to
Mm. That's real.
like you don't get any of my emotions. You don't get anything from me,
Right.
like nothing. And so I had to look at my hatred and on all of that and get to a real place of neutrality around men and really doing this. I don't want to say alone because I have a great family. Like you talked about your mom, and I was never going to be doing it alone. But be okay with being alone for the rest of my life. And I was really okay with it. It was very peaceful.
Right. Yeah, I grew up with my grandmother saying I'm alone, but I'm not lonely. And she was living her best life. She had her routines. She watched her gospel videos on like YouTube, on her tablet, her iPad. And I was just, I learned early on from her and my mom that you can have lots of excitement and peace of mind. And that is not a like plan B. It doesn't have to be a plan B. It doesn't have to be a, well, I found silver lining in this not desirable. It's like, no, this could
Oh, that
be the thing.
that was the thing. Like
Yes.
my silver lining is, oh, cool. You know what I mean? Like I
Right.
get to do this with somebody that I have always like liked hanging out with and that I, you
Mhm.
know, am attracted to and love talking to.
Mhm.
But I mean, that was the thing. I think if anybody, I the alone but not lonely was something I had to explain to Ford a
Okay.
lot because Ford had a hard time watching me do it alone. I
Mm.
was like taking the trash out and he was small. It's not like he's going to be able to take like big things out and help me a lot. But
Yeah.
he's like, he worried about me when he would be at his dad's.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
so I had to explain to him, it's okay. Obviously, mommy's like more than capable, but also I'm not lonely, honey.
Right. 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 How old was Ford around? How old was he when you split?
Oh, three, three
Okay.
or four. So he remembers us being together.
Okay.
Whereas Ruby was like 8 months old.
Okay.
But we hung out a lot
Okay. Got it.
together after we separated. So they had a lot of family, mommy, daddy time. But
Okay.
Ford, definitely remembers a time where we all lived together.
Okay. Now, would you do it again in the sense of like still having that family time? Did you feel like there were some boundaries that needed to be set, but you guys weren't ready to set them or anything like that?
Yeah, there are definitely some boundaries that needed to be set. We were obviously still figuring that out for ourselves when we always and we're very clear from the beginning we wanted our kids to they were the priority and that we wanted to spend
Yeah.
as much time together with the kids as possible.
Okay.
That made it very difficult for him to date,
Yeah.
not me. Like I don't know, like I didn't care, but for him, I did probably ruin a few relationships at the beginning. And I do remember when he would like start to really like somebody, I would feel insecure and I'd like pull him back in. So definitely
Okay.
yeah, it got messy there for a little bit. But I think we could have set boundaries at the beginning, but it didn't hurt our relationship. I just
Okay.
think that I think it hurt him as far as prospects early on. He
Yeah.
obviously landed where he's supposed to land. Um, but yeah, ultimately, I think it affected him more.
Okay. What do you mean he landed? Does he have a partner as
Yeah, he's
well?
a partner. Her name's
Okay.
April. And that's who I also co-parent with.
Okay.
And so yeah, he got where he was going. And that I love them and I'm so
Yeah.
happy for them. Um, but yeah, I'm glad she met him when she did, not early on.
Right, yeah, because well, yeah, everything's for happens for a reason. Um, let's talk about that. You said you love them. That's a big deal. You love your children's stepmom.
Yeah, she's
Let's
great.
unpack that a little.
It was very intentional. I made it pretty clear from the jump that I what my request to him was that the person that he ends up with, that he's gonna live with, and that he's gonna be, spending his life with. I don't think he'd ever get married again. I doubt he'll get married again, but um, that one that she has room in her heart for me, and that she wants a relationship with me, not just
Mhm.
me and the kids, but like me,
Okay.
and that she aligned with our values when it comes to certain things like school and
Right.
healthcare and just things that we agreed on. I needed that person to be aligned with. And so he took that seriously and I did too,
Okay.
because he felt the same way. So if I definitely have dated men that I had a connection with, but that they would not have been able to do what like co-parent or live and blended the way that we have wanted to live. And so how why I love them because especially her, because she has created that space in her heart for me. And he facilitated that really early on. I mean, when he knew that he's probably going to be spending more than, I think this was like 3 or 4 months in, connected us via Instagram and just said, "Hey, I want you guys to meet." And so we just exchanged numbers, um, and have pretty, I don't want to say constant contact, but like she's I go to him first because he's their father. But if I want it done and remembered, I'm gonna also go to her.
Been there. Yep.
Like,
Absolutely been there.
yeah, like doctor stuff. I mean, he can definitely handle it, but she's definitely more of the details admin side of that home. Um,
I love
and
it.
so yeah, we just were talking about like I need to call the and mind you, she lives with their father. He could easily do this.
Right.
Um, but she's like, I need you to call the doctor's office, get their stuff moved over to the new doctors here in town. And I was like, I'll put it on my list. But you know what I mean? Like he could easily do that. And it's like
Right. That
and
is
then
interesting.
Ford's birthday party, just I wanted that person to love my children as much as
Yeah.
that as we do, as much as you can.
Yeah, that's been my experience as well. Where there's a time where I was like, oh my God, I really like this dynamic because like there's better communication now that my ex has his partner, and there's just things where I also kind of felt bad because I feel like some of his responsibilities were being put on her, which if she's
I
open
would
to, if that's the relationship they have, then that's fine. But
I don't, yeah, I agree.
yeah,
I
I'm
would
just like,
overstep
this
and be
is
like, what are
me.
you doing? Like, this is why I divorced him. So
Right, right. Good
he
luck
could
with
get it
that.
together on his own, girlfriend. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I
I've
wanted
been
him
there.
to like get it on his own. So I get it.
Yeah, exactly. I felt those same things. I'm like, you found another one who'll do the things. But
I think
as
that's
I
just it.
say, as long as the things get done at the end of the day, I literally don't care. Like I think you were saying, like, why would in your video, you're like, why would I be upset about someone who wants to help us as parents make sure that our children have a great birthday? Can you tell me about that story again?
Oh yeah. So it was for Ford's 10th birthday.
Mhm.
They decided that they were going to throw his party, and because he was going to be over there, I think that was their weekend. And usually literally for the last 10 years it didn't matter who had Ford, I was planning the birthday party,
Got it.
and making sure it happened. And Todd was just kind of showing up, which again, like whatever. But she decided she was going to throw it, and I had told a few people and they were like, doesn't bother you? No. And I think that's because and I think that is the difference between me and a lot of people is I don't feel like I have ownership over my children. I don't believe my
Mm.
children are mine. I don't own them. Um, they're my responsibility. I'm their guide. I'm their vessel. Like they came through me. They have my DNA. There's certain traits that they chose. But I don't believe I own them. And so I don't feel, and I also don't believe I'm like entitled to their love either, like,
Mhm.
or being chosen by them.
Right.
I will say it's my deepest insecurity. Like if my kids don't like me, I'll
Right.
be bummed for sure. But my identity, my ego isn't like wrapped up in that. And so
Okay.
for me, one, no, I don't feel like because she did that I'm less of a mother or that my kids love me less, or like she's infringing on my kids and
Right.
my duties and things like that. As far as I see it, I'm exposing my children to more love, more
Mhm.
support, more abundance, more things, more people, more family, more experiences.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and so she did the whole party and it was so fun. I could have never done that. I could have never done what she done for my child.
And you're okay with that. You don't
Completely,
feel
because
like
I
it
do
makes you
things that
less than, or that you're
I
gonna love her
provide things
more.
for my kids that she could never provide. There's a level of emotional intelligence or an awareness of who they are on many different levels that I'm aware of that she could never be aware of.
Right. Right. Just part of being a mama. Yeah, that's real. That's beautiful. And I think when people can separate themselves out from some of these ideas of what it means to be a worthy person, right? Because a lot of the times it's like if you're a bad mom, whatever that means you're a bad person. And so, how you show up as a mother and what have you is so important. And it's when you become one, it feels like it's like the number one part of who you are. At least that's how we're told to think, growing up. However, it's like the moment people are more forward thinking and like more comprehensive in their thinking around what it means to be a mom, like you said, and not wrapping your whole self-worth in how they see you or what role you play in their lives every inch, right? Then that frees everybody up, honestly, to just show up and be themselves
It's
and get what you
it's
need out of
such
it.
a it's such a it's such a losing game to try and be a good mom,
Yeah.
because if you ask every person, they're all going to give you a definition that's different for a good mom. How could I possibly know what my kids would think is a good mom?
Right.
How could they at their ages right now tell me what is a good mom and what good means, like the definition of good, and like even biblically, like when God says and it is good,
Hmm.
he's it's it she is saying he is saying it is complete, it is whole. But
Mm.
you're actually cannot be a good mom if you are coming at it from a deficit or trying to be a good mom, because when you're trying to be something, you are automatically saying I'm not it. So you have to decide I am whole and complete as I am, exactly as I am today. And I'm bringing that to this relationship with my child. And then, that's obvious. I'm a good mom. I will be the mom that they need me to be in order to become the humans that they came to this earth to be. And some people will be like, that's good that you're doing that. And some people will be like, that's bad. I actually, for a year, gave Todd majority custody of the kids
Okay.
because I was overcoming like mold poisoning that had deeply affected my mental health and my ability to be myself and to be like who I knew my kids wanted chose me to be. And so I had to deal with a lot of, I could never leave my kids. I could never do that. Like a lot of heavy shame and guilt that I kind of had to really wade through and drain
Yeah.
in order to give them everything they have now.
Right.
We're in the best place now. I never would have, we've never would have gotten here if I hadn't done that for that year.
Yeah. Ooh, that's beautiful. And I'm gonna assume that Todd didn't hold that over your head or try to use that against you.
So,
And
not like where it's like ringing bells where I can remember a time. I got them every weekend, so I think he enjoyed that.
yeah.
Except for one weekend a month, so he could take them and do things. Um, but no, he never held it over my head. I think he looked forward to having the time with the kids, and he knew they needed a level of structure, and he wanted to give them a level of structure at
Right.
that age that they really needed that I could not give them. I did not have the capacity to give them. And like behaviorally, they were struggling.
Mhm.
Um, and the way they were treating me, they were not like they were being very, it's like that 3 to 4 when they're so mean to you, and they were just being so mean to me. And so I was just like buying them things, just like get them to, it was not good. And so I think he was happy to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. I am just so in awe, like your ability to say, hey, I think there's more that's needed here, and I think Todd's going to be the one to do it. And
And I think he could do it. And
that's
I
so
think that
strong of
I
you.
wanted him to know that, like, no, I really believe that you can do this. And I think he
Mhm.
needed to know that he could do it. I know he holds a lot of insecurity around being a good dad and perfectionism and
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that is so, oh, I'm so in awe. So when did it transition to what schedule you have? What schedule do you guys kind of have now?
Oh, it's 50-50, 7 days on, 7 days off. And that was Ford's idea. So we're very, yeah, so we're very like open to their feedback. And he was struggling with the one, I don't, it was like 5. I don't remember what the schedule was. It's been so long now. But yeah, he asked if he could be with me longer and dad longer. So we just did 7 days on, 7 days off. And even recently he asked if he could live with his dad.
Okay.
most of the time. But that changed. He changed his mind like 2 weeks later. Um, yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, he even asked that, and we both talked about it, and we were like, okay. And then he changed his mind.
That is beautiful that you all keep him in mind and that he feels safe enough to talk to you about his desires. I think that's just really beautiful that Ford felt comfortable, like even expressing, hey, I want this schedule or that schedule. That says a lot about you too.
That is a huge priority for me. And that has always been a big priority for me with Ford. When we realized how sensitive he was really early on, um, I wanted him to know that I wanted to give him a lot of words and ways to express how he was feeling and what he wanted, whether through colors or imagery or whatever. But also that, then like, this is the important thing, that he was not responsible for my emotions. And so I wanted him to be able to be like, hey, this schedule is really difficult on me, without the fear of, I'm afraid mommy is going to feel like I don't love her,
Yeah.
going to be sad. Um, and so he still sometimes has those feelings.
Mhm.
He's very tuned in and tapped in. But I also want him to know, and that's not your responsibility.
Right.
Mommy is an adult, and I'm responsible for my own emotions. And my priority is that you have what you need, and that you're healthy and taken care of.
Right. Oh, you guys are amazing. What about introducing now babies, right? So Todd, I believe, has another child, yes?
No, so April
Oh,
has two children. She has a yeah, so April has two kids, for a kindergartner and
okay.
then a 17-year-old. She just turned 17 this week. So big gap.
Ooh.
So technically Todd has another kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he met
Sure.
her when the little one was 3.
Okay.
So he's been, a father figure pretty early on. So yes, technically, but they don't have any like biological children together.
Okay.
Um, and both my kids had asked me like if I could have a baby because I don't really know how that works. So we want a little sister. I was like, absolutely not. Talk to your dad about it. And he was like, absolutely not. Talk to your mom about it. But I was not ever shutting down the possibility. I mean, people are like, do you want another one? I'm like, I'm here for the party.
Okay.
Like I probably have one more in me.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
feel like a no.
Yeah.
I felt like the next person I was with was probably gonna want a baby, and I'm good at babies. And I'm a decent pregnant person, and I'm a great mom in my opinion. So I'm like, okay, I can do one more. Um, so they're both excited. They're both happy. Um, we've had conversations lately that are a little bit more real for them, I think.
Okay.
Ruby's very attached to me. She's literally never leaves my side if we're at the house. I mean, never leaves my side. I don't know why she has a room. Um, where Ford is like does his own thing. He's been spending more time with me lately, and I think his dad
Okay.
told me that he actually told him that he feels bad because he doesn't spend enough time with me. I was like, dude,
Oh my
you're
gosh.
10, like you can like whatever. Do you like you're not hurting
Right.
my feelings. If I want to spend time with you, I'll go downstairs and spend time with you.
Right.
But he, like I said, Ford is very like, and so Ruby, I had to just kind of forewarn her that for a time being, she won't be able to sleep in the same bed as me every night,
Right.
and that she wouldn't be getting as much one-on-one attention, and that hadn't dawned on her.
She's like, wait a second.
Yeah, she's like, you're making me sad, and she started crying. I was like, it's not forever, it's for a short period of time, and you will feel more love than you have ever felt when the baby comes, and you'll be able to help with the baby. You won't want to sleep in the same room, Ruby. You're
Right.
never going to be able to sleep. And then Ford said something interesting. I'm going to write an email about this. He said, um, when the baby comes, can you promise you won't treat me any different?
Hmm.
And I said, well, I can't promise you that it won't be different,
Right.
right? I can't everything's changing, dude. It's been me, you,
Mhm.
and Ruby for a very long time.
Right.
I said, but I promise to not treat you differently than I treat you now. But can you tell me what that means to you? I
Ooh.
said, what does that look like to you? Like how would I how do you like how what does that look like essentially?
Mhm.
He said, well, if you would stop answering my questions. So like
Hmm.
that's what he values most about our relationship is that he can ask anything. And I've never been like, dude, why are you asking that? Or another question. Or and I never lie to him. I just give him, I don't say, I don't know. I always say, we'll figure it out. And I think that means a lot to him because he's a big overthinker and a thinker and curious. And so he needs to be seen as smart and have his questions answered. So then I felt confident promising him that
Right.
I wouldn't stop doing that. I
That's
said,
so
okay, cool.
wise.
Yeah.
That's
Um, and
wise.
then April, who is their stepmom, which is Todd's
Mhm.
partner, has like offered to help with the baby during the week so I can like work and things like that. And so I definitely foresee the baby just going with her siblings to their
Really?
house. Yeah, for sure. So I foresee Todd helping me raise the baby.
What? How does
Doesn't that
your
like, obviously to an extent. I mean, I
right,
don't think he's raising the baby, but I think he also we haven't talked about it, but I think he
right,
also is aware he's probably going to be a lot more involved in raising this baby than you would mostly would think that he would be
right,
involved in. Yeah, so the kindergartner, because when they're over there, they're always together all the time. And so like if I have something going on and I want to bring the kids to it, I'm taking the kids away from him. And
right,
that's what's one more, you know what I mean? And I have a relationship with him
right.
as I'm with the kids over there. And so of course. And so it kind of goes both ways. I foresee Aurora, which is the baby's name,
Mhm.
spending lots of time over there, and with them.
Yeah.
So yeah, essentially I said it out loud, which is weird, but yeah, I think Todd's going to be a part of helping raise the baby.
That's very blended of y'all. Like I think that's
It's
beautiful.
extremely it is extremely blended. We
Mhm.
use the term blended family. We don't really use like co-parenting a lot.
Got it.
We're very blended.
Yes, that is powerful. And that takes a different level of skill set and focus, if you will. Um, which I super commend. And okay, so you're having Aurora soon. Y'all are one big family, one big
It's not all, I
family.
mean, obviously we've had our I don't want to get sound like we haven't had our issues because I mean Todd and
Yeah.
I don't want to make it sound like everything's been perfect. The issues that we had in our marriage followed us into co-parenting, but almost worse
Mm,
because the to me again, like there's nothing more vulnerable than being a parent. Um, so all of my insecurities and all of my it's just deeply vulnerable. And so that other person knows the buttons to push if they feel like pushing a button that day. And so
yeah.
he definitely went through a time with if he was feeling insecure and like if he felt like a bad dad or he felt like he was not being perfect or he's being really hard on himself, that would result in him being hard on me.
Okay. Yep.
Um, and so we definitely have been through through that. We're just at a really good place now.
Okay, let me ask you this, and then we'll probably wrap soon. But how do you all manage conflict? Let's say something comes up where April's stepping on toes or something like that. How do you manage conflict?
As a blended family, we haven't had any conflict.
What? Okay.
No. And I think that's because of our ability to communicate,
Hmm.
and the maturity that Todd and I went through the fire before he met April. Um, I think the only time where there was like a little bit was when I was single and he said that he thought the kids needed more of a family like environment. And I was like,
Yeah. What's that
no,
supposed to mean?
I'm their mom and like we're a family over here. So, and I think he meant because, mom, dad, family. And it is a great environment over there for them. But also what I was delivering was our family too.
Right.
And Todd had never actually expressed to me that he thought I was a good mom,
Mm.
which he doesn't need to. Yeah, I mean, he never had like he just but I realized in that moment that I had never gotten that from him, and so when he said that,
Mm.
I heard because you're not enough and you're not a good mom and like you're failing your kids. And so that I freaked out. Like I definitely like was not mature during that conversation. But basically he just I'll say what I'm hearing
Mhm.
and he'll say what he was saying. You know what I mean? He'd be
Okay.
like,
Yeah.
that's not what I was saying. I'm sorry you heard that, even though in my
Right.
head, I'm like, but that's what you said.
Right.
So we're just kind of communicating like this is what I heard. And he's like, this is what I said, and this is what I meant. And we kind of do our own emotional work around that. We're not like working it out. So that's to, like the last bit of conflict that I can remember. That maybe that's how we handle it. We just don't have a we don't have a lot, and I think that's a lot to do with me, to be honest with you, because I handle it, if that makes sense. Like
Okay, you go and do the
my perspective of the world is I think what kind of allows for us to be able to operate the way that we do. And he just kind of he sponges, like he gets it, like it kind of rubs off on him.
been there as well. Yeah, I
Yeah.
felt like whatever tone I set is what I would get back in return. And so I was like, if I come very like stoic or whatever it is, neutral or what have you, or super like accommodating, then he would reflect the same thing usually. If I
Yeah.
came at him real hot and tough, then he would give me that as well. So yeah, we are very powerful in a lot of ways and
Yeah.
influential.
I
Mhm.
always try to explain that to women, and it's always like, well, why do I have to? It's like, do you want the result? Like,
Right.
or do you not? Like, I want a peaceful life. I want a great blended co-parenting relationship. I'm gonna do what's in my control to
Right.
do. And that is I'm gonna communicate the way I want. Like, I'm gonna set the energetic tone and the language and the way of communicating that I want. Again, it's not perfect. I think he said something the other day that I was like, dude, but I mean, but it's not worth a conversation back and forth.
Right, right, picking those battles too. Are there any parting words you have? Like if you were going to say like one thing to co-parents and blended families to keep them going, encourage them or think differently, what would you share?
I think it would be to always remember and to control what you take responsibility for yourself, how you view the situation, how you view the person, the energy and the emotions you bring to every single interaction. I just encourage you to be hyper aware of that because people are who we expect them to be.
Mm,
And so if I want a certain type of parent for my children or a certain type of relationship, I have to first see him as that. I have to first see us behaving that way. And I need to then communicate as if that's the way that it already is and just speak life over him
mm,
and speak life over a relationship. It benefits nobody to speak anything but life over him. And always remember that it's not winner or like win or lose or winner versus loser in this. It's winner and winner. Like if I look at it as winner versus loser, then I'm co-parent and I'm the winner, then I'm co-parenting with the loser.
right. That doesn't sound fun.
That's not my gospel.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to win, but especially I want the kids to win. So I'm always just very aware of like visualizing it exactly how I want it to go, speaking life over him in my head, but also to my kids. And that would be like my parting words. You have a lot more power than you think you do.
Mm, that is beautiful. And I encourage folks to go follow you because that I took so much from the posts that you have there when it comes to visualization and manifesting. Can I ask one last question?
Yeah.
When you say speak life over him. Can you give an example of like a phrase or something you're thinking about when you do that for your child's father, children's
I mean,
father?
I just don't speak ill of him.
Yeah.
Um, I've definitely like said or made jokes, and the kids will like, but I'd be like, no, but your dad's the best dad in the whole entire world, or your dad's so funny, or your dad's so smart, he's so
Hmm.
goofy. Or even if I said something negative about him, I'd be like, but that's my one of my favorite things about him.
Right.
Or just getting really clear about what the relationship is if I want to have positive communication, then I'm gonna see Todd as a positive communicator.
Right.
I'm going to reinforce that. I'd be like, hey, thank you so much for like the way that you communicated this situation. You're such a great
Hmm.
communicator.
Right.
Like,
That's what you want
I'm
to
never
know.
going to give energy to when he's not doing things the way that I would prefer them, because I don't
Mhm.
want more of it. Um,
Right.
but how I speak about him is really important, not only to my children, but to me. Like, I think, and it really affects my kids. I noticed that Ruby woke up from a, again, I can only do this for myself. I can't say that Todd's doing the exact same thing for me. I don't know. But Ruby woke up from a nightmare. She was crying, and she said that I got into a car accident in August, and we
Mm.
have been like one car down for a while. It just has not been like a priority. And I was renting a car, and I guess I maybe Todd had mentioned to her, well, if your mom stopped renting cars, she could have just like gotten the car fixed. I was like, but we have like a million other priorities than getting this particular car fixed. But it upset her because she's like,
Mm.
do you not have money? Are you stressed?
Oh,
Girl, look around you. We're fine.
we
Do you not
okay?
have money? Okay. Do you have
Yeah.
a home? Do you have clothes? Like, yes, we're fine. But she got upset, and it's like, it's because he wasn't thinking, or he
Right.
wasn't speaking life over me. He was in
Right.
like correction, perfection, control mode,
Right.
most likely because he was feeling like he was struggling, or he was having
Right.
a bad time, or he wasn't perfect. Because Ruby has definitely told me, if you need to know anything, you just need to like talk to Ruby,
Okay.
because
So give me the tea.
she's got the tea. Like, and if you don't want it repeated, do not say it in front of Ruby. And she's not doing it on purpose. She's
Right.
just
That's just who she
me. So
is.
she
She's
just sends
open.
it. She's
Yeah.
like, whatever, man. But she talked about, she's like, have you ever seen Daddy cry? And I was like, well, yeah. Like, I mean, yeah, we were together for a long time. And she's like, I saw Daddy cry. Daddy cried because he said he was crying because he said, I just don't know how to do this. I don't know how to be a good dad. And it's like, you're a great dad. So he just had been having a very bad day.
Yeah.
And what you do when you're having a very bad day and you feel out of control is usually try and control other people. And so I
Mm.
have to understand that, like, that's what was happening. That's an understanding of him I didn't have when we were married.
Got it.
But through this relationship and this dynamic, I see what's happening. And so I can speak life over him
Hmm.
versus getting offended that he's even talking about my car or talking about me and things like that. So it's always trying to see him
Yeah.
in the absolute best light as I can,
Yeah.
because it feels better in my body
Mm.
and it feels better to my kids.
Yep.
Um, and it usually leads to the outcome that I want.
I love that. I love that. I'm learning so much, and I know others will
Yeah.
too. And I appreciate you so much.
Thank
So
you.
thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. This was obviously like outside of I've done a lot of interviews, but
Mhm.
I haven't spoken about our co-parenting.
Okay. Well, maybe you should. You guys are goals, and the way you think is incredible. And I wish more mamas knew about this mindset, but that's my goal is just,
I'm writing a book.
hey, you have more than one book.
I do. So I have a book called The Patterns. Um,
Uh-huh.
that's more of like a technology and teaching kind of thing. It's more personal development, but this is a book called Be a Mother, Not a Martyr.
Mm.
And I've been writing it for a long time, and I just couldn't get it finished. And I realized it's because I have one more kid, one more
Yeah.
stage to kind of complete before I really am able to give a full, like, really give it my all. So yeah, there'll be a book that kind of discusses this perspective.
So where can people find you?
You can find me the Paige Christensen on Instagram and TikTok. And then soon thepagechristensen.com.
Awesome. Thank you.
For having me.
Thank you for watching. Please click like, subscribe, and share.